The war between humans and the Valari Empire had raged for 7 long years. Planets burned. Fleets vanished. Peace was a myth. Sergeant Cole Riker, Earthborn, battle-hardened, had seen it all. He'd fought on ice moons, in asteroid trenches, and inside collapsing bioships. But nothing prepared him for the day he found her. ####the mission. Cole's squad was sent to the outer edge of the Valari territory, to a storm-racked world called Xerxes 4. Intelligence said it was just a supply depot. Hit it, extract, leave nothing behind. But the depot was a lie. They walked into a trap. Turrets emerged from the sand, cloaked drones dropped from the sky, and sonic mines tore apart half the squad. By the time the dust settled, only 3 humans were still breathing. Cole, Lieutenant Vance, Private Juno. They retreated into the cliffs, bleeding, low on ammo, and with no evac in sight. That's when Cole heard it. ####the cry. It was faint, nearly buried beneath the howling wind and groaning of shifting metal. A whimper, high-pitched, frightened. He signaled to the others. Cover me. He moved through the crags, pushing aside debris, weapon at the ready. And then he saw her, a small figure, no taller than his thigh, huddled inside a collapsed escape pod. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver, eyes glowing faintly violet. She was clearly Valari, but far too young to be a soldier. She wore a tiny crown-like circlet over her head. Royalty. Cole froze. Killing her would be war protocol. But something in her eyes, terrified, innocent, paralyzed his trigger finger. ####the decision. Lieutenant Vance arrived behind him, gun raised. What the hell is that? She's a child, Cole replied. She's the enemy. She's a kid, Vance. The girl whimpered again. She tried to shield herself with one arm, her other hand clutching a small plush creature, some alien toy. Orders are clear, Vance said. No survivors. Cole stepped in front of the girl, slowly. Then you'll have to shoot through me. Silence. Vance stared. Juno, wide-eyed, said nothing. Finally, Vance cursed. You've lost it, Riker. That's a damn alien princess. You're throwing your career away. Cole didn't move. She's scared. She's not the war. She's just a little girl. ####evac and escape. Somehow, they got a signal out. A stealth evac drone arrived hours later, after the sun had fallen and the battlefield cooled. When command saw who they brought back, Cole was immediately detained. Interrogated. Threatened with court-martial. But the girl? She clung to him. Refused food from anyone else. Spoke only in Valari, but her gestures said everything. She trusted him. ####the message. 2 days later, Earth's High Command received a surprise transmission. A direct line from the Valari Queen. Her face appeared on every screen. Majestic, towering, her voice cold like ice and fire. One of your soldiers has returned my daughter. Not as a prisoner. Not as a trophy. But alive. She paused. Humanity has shown something we thought impossible. The channel went silent. What came next would change the galaxy. The next day, Sergeant Cole Riker was released from custody. No charges. No explanation. Just a single sentence from High Command. The Valari Queen has requested your presence. Immediately. ###journey to the Valari throne world. Cole boarded a neutral diplomatic shuttle under the watchful eye of both human and alien observers. His gear was stripped. He wasn't a soldier now. He was an emissary. The ship moved through uncharted slipstreams until it arrived at Solarith Prime, the heart of the Valari Empire. It was a jewel of a world. Floating citadels, luminous sky rivers, towering spires woven from living crystal. No human had ever set foot on it. Until now. As Cole stepped out, he was met by a procession of regal Valari warriors in ceremonial armor. No weapons drawn. No hostility. Just one guide. The same little girl he had saved. She ran to him and took his hand. ###audience with the Queen. The throne chamber was vast, more cathedral than palace. The Queen sat upon a throne of star-forged obsidian, eyes burning like twin suns. She studied him with a silence that made the air feel heavier. And then she spoke. I am Alzyr, Queen of the Valari, Warden of the 9 Galaxies, Keeper of the Eternal Flame. And this, she looked to her daughter, is Isra. Isra smiled at him with a kind of warmth Cole hadn't seen since Earth. You could have let her die, the Queen said. You were under no obligation. Yet you protected her, comforted her, defied your own. Cole stood tall. She was just a kid. That's all that mattered. The queen paused, then made the shocking offer. ##### the proposal. You are a soldier, a protector, and clearly something more. I offer you this. Become her guardian. Not a prisoner, not a symbol, but a shield and sword for the future of our people. The chamber gasped. Even the Valari elite looked stunned. Cole blinked. You want me to protect the princess? I trust you more than my own blood. You have seen war. You understand loss. And Isra trusts no one else. But I'm human. That is why I choose you. #### reactions across the galaxy. The news spread fast. Human soldier to serve as royal guardian? Is this a peace treaty or infiltration? Cole Riker, traitor or hero? Earth was divided. Some called for his return. Others called him a bridge between species. The Valari? They whispered a new name. The Pale Knight of Solarith. The man who made the queen hesitate. The man who turned war into something else. #### a new life begins. Cole was given armor forged from Valari metals. Lightweight, indestructible, beautiful. He trained beside elite alien warriors. Studied their ways. Protected Isra day and night. She, in turn, began learning about humans. She made her own combat knife out of a spoon. She decorated his quarters with human doodles and called him Rick Rick. And slowly, the queen began to smile again. #### something stirs in the shadows. But peace was never simple. In the dark corners of space, not everyone wanted peace. An assassination attempt failed only because of Cole's reflexes. Poison in the wind. A traitor among the queen's own guard. As Cole stared down the would-be assassin, one thing became clear. This wasn't over. Someone wanted to finish the war by ending the child who could stop it. And now, Cole would kill to protect her. Solarith Prime never truly slept. The palace floated above the luminous clouds of the capital, stars gleaming across its crystal spires. Inside, serenity was a lie. Cole couldn't sleep. His instincts, sharpened by a decade of warfare, told him something was wrong. The guards outside Isra's chambers had changed rotation too early. A servant flinched when she saw him. And the queen's closest advisor, General Cathor, had gone quiet. Too quiet. That night, Cole sat in the shadows outside Isra's chamber, armored, still, listening. And then, the whisper of silk and steel. #### the assassins. Two shadows slithered across the walls. Valari, but wrong. No honor markings. Their movements were too fast, too silent. Cole didn't wait. He sprang from the darkness, blade flashing. One assassin's blade met his chest plate. It sparked, skidding off harmlessly. Cole's elbow smashed into the Valari's jaw, sending him crashing into a column. The second lunged for the chamber door. Cole drew his sidearm. One shot. Clean. ****, the assassin dropped. Isra opened the door, trembling. She saw Cole standing over the two bodies and rushed into his arms. "You promised," she whispered. "You promised to keep me safe." "I still do," he said. "Always." #### interrogation and intrigue. The surviving assassin was dragged before the queen. His face was bloodied, but he laughed when she asked who sent him. "Your enemies sit beside you, Majesty. They smile while holding blades." The queen turned to her inner circle, and all eyes turned to General Cathor. Cathor didn't flinch. Lies. Meant to divide us. But Cole had seen that man's face change when Isra hugged him the first day. Contempt. Disgust. And now? Cole was certain. #### betrayal confirmed. Using surveillance footage and data Cole recovered from the assassin's gear, it became clear. Cathor had been meeting off-world with unknown factions. He had coordinated troop withdrawals near critical outposts. He had access to Isra's schedule, leaked to outsiders. The queen was devastated. Cathor was family. Blood. She ordered him imprisoned, pending trial by flame. I trusted him to protect her. But it was a human who stood between her and death. #### Riker's warning. Cole approached the queen privately. Cathor was just a knife. Someone else held the hilt. The queen nodded slowly. "Then we cut off the hand." But Cole wasn't sure they could find the hand in time. Because someone out there wanted this new piece broken. And if killing a child was the price, they'd pay it. ###Isra's growth. Isra had changed. She now trained daily with Cole, learning not just Valari defense, but human combat. Quick, dirty, effective. She asked tough questions. Why do people fear peace? Why do they hate us for being friends? Cole answered as best he could. Because fear made people cruel. Because old wounds bled slow. But he swore this. If anyone tries to hurt you again, princess, they'll meet the worst part of humanity. ##### the call from Earth. Then the unexpected came. A private message from Earth's high command to Cole. You're recalled. Immediately. Orders from the top. It wasn't a request. It was a command. If Cole left, Isra would be vulnerable. If he refused, he'd become a traitor to his species. And somewhere, deep in the galaxy, enemies were waiting. Cole read the message again. By order of Earth High Command, Sergeant Cole Riker is hereby recalled from foreign assignment. Failure to comply will be considered treason. There was no explanation, no voice, just cold text and a countdown. 72 hours to comply. Cole knew what it meant. They didn't trust him anymore. #### confronting the Queen. He stood before Queen Alzyr, the message on display. She read it in silence. Your people doubt your loyalty, she finally said. Cole didn't deny it. They see me as compromised. Are you? He hesitated. I'm loyal to her. He nodded toward Isra, watching from the side. And to peace. The Queen nodded solemnly. Then your path is clear, but not easy. #### Earth's offer. Earth wasn't finished. A diplomatic envoy arrived in orbit, 2 destroyers and a sleek command vessel. They requested Cole aboard. Alone, Cole went. He met General Hartman, his former superior. The meeting was tense. You've gone native, Riker, Hartman said. Wearing their armor. Living in their palace. Guarding her. She's a child. She's the heir to the species that killed millions of ours. Cole slammed his hand on the table. She's also the only chance either of us has at peace. We didn't come for peace. We came to win. That was the moment Cole knew. Earth didn't want a treaty. They wanted control. Or conquest. #### The offer rejected. Hartman gave him one last chance. Walk away, Cole. Come home. Or the next strike won't miss her. Cole leaned forward, voice cold. If you come for her, General, then you'd better bring more ships. He left the ship without looking back. #### Preparing for the storm. Back on Solarith Prime, Cole called a meeting with the Queen and her generals. They're coming. Earth wants control, not peace. If they can't get it through me, they'll take it by force. Alzyr's eyes burned. Then we prepare. You will lead our defense. But I'm not one of you. You are more Valari than many who wear our sigils. And more human than the cowards who sent that threat. #### Isra's stand. Isra overheard everything. Later that night, she walked to Cole's quarters, wearing light training armor. I don't want to run, she said. I won't let you. I want to fight. She stood beside him, tiny but fierce. Teach me everything. ###. Meanwhile, in Earth High Command, General Hartman stood before the council. We lost him. A shadowy admiral spoke. Then we move forward with Operation Silent Crown. Target, Solarith Prime. Eliminate the child. End the bloodline. And finish the war. Across the stars, Earth's fleet mobilized. The countdown had begun. And Cole, he was ready. At dawn, the skies over Solarith Prime turned dark. Not from clouds, but from ships. Earth's fleet had arrived. 2 carrier groups, stealth bombers, orbital drop units. They jammed comms, blocked escape lanes, and hailed the palace. Surrender the Valari princess, or face annihilation. There was no negotiation. This was war. ###. Cole's command. Inside the Crystal Fortress, Cole stood before the Valari defenders, thousands of warriors, engineers, and even civilians who refused to flee. He wore full ceremonial battle armor now, reforged with both Valari and human tech, sleek, dangerous, symbolic. They called him the Pale Knight. They came for a child, he said. Let's show them what it costs. Isra stood beside him in light battle gear, blade at her hip. We fight together. ###. The Battle of Solarith Prime. The first wave came fast, drop pods slamming into the outer walls. Drones cut power to half the defense grid. But Cole had planned for that. Energy fields rerouted through backup systems. Auto turrets targeted Earth's mechs. Valari fighters rose from the floating hangars, weaving through the sky like silver arrows. Cole led from the front, rifle in one hand, plasma blade in the other. Everywhere he went, Earth's soldiers fell. But Earth's generals didn't care about casualties. They had one objective: kill the princess. ####the betrayal. In the chaos, General Cathor escaped his cell. He met with Earth's infiltration unit, led them through a secret route toward Izra's chamber. But Cole was already waiting. Cathor sneered. "You're not one of us." Cole raised his blade. "No, I'm better." The duel was brutal. Cathor fought with rage, Cole with purpose. In the end, Cole's blade pierced the traitor's heart. "For Izra," he whispered. ####the turning point. Izra's location was nearly overrun when Earth's orbital strike targeted the throne room. But before the blast could hit, ***, the Valari Queen herself unleashed her full power, ***, wielding ancient energy known only to her bloodline. She deflected the beam with a wave of cosmic fire. The sky itself screamed, and Earth's fleet panicked. ###Earth pulls back. With their main infiltration teams dead, their general outmatched, and their quick strike turning into a slaughter, Earth's admirals ordered a retreat. But not before one final act: a remote detonation in orbit, an explosive meant to level the palace entirely. Cole spotted it mid-transmission. He didn't hesitate. ###, the sacrifice. He launched toward the detonation chamber, high in the tallest spire. With seconds to spare, he severed the control lines, disabling the bomb. But the chamber began to collapse. He had one option left: jump. He leapt from the spire as it exploded behind him. Armor burning, systems failing. Izra saw him fall. She screamed. ###, aftermath. Hours passed. Search teams combed the wreckage. And finally, they found him. Broken. Burned. Alive. He awoke days later in a crystalline healing bed, the Queen and Izra beside him. "You kept your promise," Izra whispered. "Always," Cole said with a weak smile. ###, the legacy of the Pale Knight. Earth's attack failed spectacularly. Public backlash on Earth exploded. War-hungry admirals were forced to resign. And for the first time in centuries, the Valari and humans signed a peace pact. At the center of that treaty stood two signatures: Queen Alzyr of the Valari, Sergeant Cole Riker, Pale Knight of the Crown. Cole never returned to Earth. He became more than a protector. He became a symbol, a human who chose honor over orders, compassion over conquest. And a little girl? She would grow up to rule a peaceful empire, with a human legend always at her side.